Welcome to the Ironwood Gym. Today, we're going to go over the 3 biggest things you can do to improve your bench. First, before I get into that, I was never a great bencher. My best raw bench, which is what most people can relate to, was 336, done in the weight class in competition and in training. In competition, it was done at the weight class of 220. I believe I came in weighing under that, probably about 210, between 210 and 215. In training, probably around the same body weight, between 210 and 215. In gear, which I was horrible in gear, but I did get a carryover, and my best bench was 408 pounds. Take that for what it is. I have a lot of experience. It took me a long time to get to those numbers. It took me a lot of hard work. Here's the things that I learned, excluding programming, and I'm a big programming guy, but excluding programming, the 3 biggest things to help you build your bench. In reverse order, starting with number 3, build the supporting musculature. The supporting musculature is the muscles that are utilized heavily to create your base, or working essentially in the background, not necessarily directly involved in performing the lift. But without them, you're losing a lot of pounds off your bench. The lats. You have to keep your back tight. You have to keep your shoulder blades pulled down and retracted. And they create a great base as well. The lats do that. If you're a shirted bencher, you really need to put a lot of stock into your lats. Your lats, typically, the way you would want to train them is in rowing motions, horizontal motions, barbell rows, chest supported rows, bent over rows, or dumbbell bent over rows. Exercises in which you're pulling essentially in the same plane as what you bench. You're trying to build thickness in your back. The traps. If you're a shirted bencher, the traps aren't quite as important, but still very important. If you're a raw bencher, the traps are used to a much greater degree. They are used very heavily in creating that base. Okay? They create a shelf almost for you to sit on. You need to build your lats. Your rear delts. You do so much pressing with your front. On the front side, you need to balance that out and have a lot of strength in the back side as well as helping you stay in proper position throughout the movement. One that a lot of people don't think about, the abs. You have to transfer energy from the floor through your body into your shoulders, into your arms, and to the bar. If you don't do that, again, you're losing a lot of pounds off your bench. The bench press should be a total body movement. And the abs are the connection between your feet and the bar. Okay? The energy has to travel through your feet, through your midsection, and into the bar. The abs should be strong. They should be held tight and firm throughout the entire movement. No looseness can be present in your abs while you're benching. Number 2, build the prime movers of the exercise. The prime movers are the muscles that are most responsible for performing the movement. Ask any big bencher. Number 1 is the triceps. It's the back of that upper arm. That is responsible for extending the arm. You can't lock out a big bench without triceps. But you're not going to get there performing tricep kickbacks and push downs. All right? I'm not saying I never perform push downs, because I absolutely do. I think there's a place for them. But that's not going to build a big bench. If you want to build a big bench, pick your big money makers. Skull crushers are okay with a barbell or dumbbells. I prefer it with dumbbells. Barbell's good too. But your big money makers are going to be things like the Tate press or flared arm extensions, as a lot of people call them. You can do them on a flat bench or on an incline. Dumbbell rolling tricep extensions, where you're actually letting those elbows move and roll back. You're getting a greater range of motion, and you're taking a lot of stress off your elbows at the time, but you're still placing a lot of stress on the long head of the triceps. So your triceps are getting strong in a manner that will carry over to benching. Also, the JM press. The JM press isn't a very popular movement, but among big benchers, it is a popular movement. It's a half extension and half press, but it's a great movement for increasing your bench press. And number one, finally down to number one. Number one is technique. The mechanics of the bench, technique. Embrace LEAP, L-E-P-E. Learn good technique, embrace technique, practice good technique, and execute good technique. So learn. Use every resource you can. There are a number of videos. You can purchase them online, DVD videos from big benchers or gyms that such as Westside Barbell, Metal Militia, big benchers or gyms that have produced big benchers. A lot of them have videos out that you can purchase, and they go over technique, good quality technique that led to those big benches. You can also read articles. I'm not much of a social person, well, getting ahead of myself, but I like to read a lot of articles. I learned a lot of articles on bench technique and how to do it, and how to do it properly, and how to get the most out of it, and techniques that would help me save my shoulders, which I was having problems with, and my bench was actually going downhill at one point. Next would be your social network. Okay? Talking to people that have benched a lot of weight. Not the guy at your local gym that's benching 225. Maybe not even the guy that's benching 275, unless he's like a 132 pound lifter, and then he's benching more than double body weight, and definitely you want to talk to him. But talk to the guys that are benching at raw benchers 400 plus, 400, 500 pounds. Talk to them about what they had, and guys that had to work to get there, not the guy that did it in his college years and it came easily. Guys that had to work to get to that point. Ask them what they do technique-wise. Learn from them. Watch them. Watch them bench. If you're a shirted bencher, if you're a geared bencher, then you need to be paying attention to guys that are benching 700, 800, 900 pounds. Jimmy Kolb is a great resource. I love listening to what he has to say when it comes to benching and gear. And the guy's benched well over 1,000 pounds. I believe his best is around 1,400. And by the way, that's more than what anyone can squat. So he's a pretty good guy to listen to when it comes to bench technique. He is a bench specialist. That's your learning good technique. Next would be embrace good technique. Don't just learn it and then go to the gym and bench and not focus on what you're doing. You have to focus on every little detail. Every little detail is important when it comes to benching big weights. Think about it. Dream about it. Think about it while don't get in an accident, but think about it while you're driving. Think about it when you're walking to class if you're still in college. Think about it all the time. You should be obsessed with it if you want to have a really big bench. But you have to embrace it. You can't try it for 3 months and toss it out the window and switch to something else. You have to perform it over and over and over again for maybe at least a few months before you really get it, possibly even a few years. And I say that because not everyone can convert their technique to someone else's technique if they haven't developed the strength in the right areas. Sometimes it takes practice over and over and over to get it done. And that leads right into my next point. Practice. Every time you go to the gym, you should be performing technique to the absolute best of your ability. And if the weight on the bar causes you to use bad technique, then stop. I'm not saying you shouldn't ever push yourself, but once you fail technically, even if you got the lift, shut it down for the day. Okay? At least as far as the benching goes. Don't continuously teach yourself bad technique just to get more weight. Over the course of time, that bad technique is going to wear and tear on your body. But also over the course of time, continuously practicing good technique will lead to good, solid technique under maximal weights. But it has to be practiced all the time, even on your bench variations, your board presses, your floor press, maybe even your incline. Practice everything you can, everything you learned about benching, convert it to those special exercises as well. They play a major role in building your bench. But you have to practice. The execute portion is the results portion. That's the last step. That's when you're actually going to perform the movement on competition day. If you're an athlete, maybe it's on test day. Or maybe if you're just a gym rat and you love to lift heavy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the day that you go to test your lifts or to show off for all your gym bros, that's the day that you have to execute absolutely flawless technique. And you can't get there without that previous step of practice. That's it. That's the 3 biggest things that you can do to improve your bench. Again, those 3 things. Build the supporting musculature. Build the prime movers, the muscles that are actually performing the movement, and technique. Learn technique, practice it, or learn it, embrace it, practice it, and execute it. And you'll have a big bench. It may take time, but those 3 things will build a big bench for you. Until next time, always be in the pursuit of strength.